Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is the late review of Grow Home on the PS4. There really isn't much of a story to this game. It's really kind of more of a concept than an actual story. The idea is you play as a little robot named Bud, who is on not quite a planet. I don't really know what to call it. It's a series of floating little islands, and his goal is to grow a star plant up to 2,000 meters, and then to collect the seed and put it in the spaceship. The extent of the end game for this game is to collect 8 more of the seeds. As for the sound design, it's pretty good, although I will admit that I did find Bud's dial-up sounding voice pretty unpleasant. There isn't any actual dialogue, or at least none that I can think of. There's some nice ambient music. The sound of the plant growing is pretty good. The sound of the rocket pack and things like that, they sound good, but there's nothing mind-blowing about any of it, and there's nothing to enhance the story because, well, there's no story to begin with, so. As for the gameplay and controls, the core mechanic is you press L1 and R1 or L2 and R2 to climb. You climb a lot. Like, just an insane amount in this game. Although Bud can climb practically anything, he's allergic to water and falling. Like, intensely allergic to water and falling. The climbing did work well. There were a few times where I was like, that's some bullshit, because I was more than positive that I had a grip on what I was trying to climb at the time, and next thing you knew, I was tumbling down, and that really sucked. One thing that I did find interesting was the physics in this game, specifically momentum. If Bud is going down a hill, even a small slope, he will start to gain momentum quickly, and next thing you know, you can be completely out of control, and that can lead to your death if you are not careful. I'll also point out that Bud is not a luxury model droid, and I say this because he steers like a boat on frozen land. It's horrible, it's sloppy. I will say, however, I adapted to it and I was able to do a fair job of controlling him, but it did suck in the overall. And with the whole momentum thing that I pointed out earlier, it's way too easy to lose control and it's very hard to regain control. Also, one thing you do is you get on stalks of the star plant and you press a button, make them grow, and then you have to steer them towards fertile asteroids, I guess. I don't know what to call them. They're floating islands that are green. But steering those stalks is as sloppy as steering Bud himself, if not more so. The game is fairly unforgiving. If one were to, say, forget to hit a checkpoint, the nearest checkpoint they could, as quickly as they could, one may accidentally fall off the stalk, lose control and go tumbling down with the whole momentum thing, and one could easily end up at a much lower point than they wanted to, and therefore have to climb up the stalk for a couple hundred meters or more. One game mechanic in this game that I found not particularly useful were these crystals scattered across the area, and you collect those to gain power-ups for Bud, but in reality I didn't find most of the power-ups that useful, since one was like, oh, you can zoom the camera out. The crystals, quite frankly, they're not necessary to beat the game. I guess the rocket pack was fairly useful, but beyond that, I could have beaten the game without it. Graphically, it's a very bright and colorful world, and it kind of reminds me of the miniatures in Final Fantasy VII, like the miniature areas, etc., etc. Very polygonal, but in 1080p with really clean lines. And yes, I get that that's the art style of this game, and that's not the best comparison, it's just the best comparison that came to my mind. This game has some really cool lighting and shadow effects. I honestly think it was probably the best part of the entire game. I was really impressed by the sunrise and sunset as well. I thought the whole daytime-nighttime cycle was really cool, and how it affected the shadows in the world that you were in. All that having been said, Grow Home doesn't really do anything to make it worth the $8 price tag that it currently has. And yes, I'm aware $8 isn't much, and the game is fairly short, but I just don't see myself replaying it. I don't think I would really gladly fork out any money for this game. That having been said, I'm glad I didn't have to pay for it, because as of right now, as of filming, as of release, this September 2015, it is the free game for the PlayStation 4 for PlayStation Plus members. I point that out because I got it for free, and I have to say I wouldn't pay for this game. This belongs on like something like Kongregate, somewhere you would play free games. So in the comments below, why don't you let me know what your favorite free game on PlayStation Plus has been? Mine has definitely been Infamous First Light. Was waiting a long time for that, and it was awesome. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you like what I'm doing in general, subscribe. Have a good one.